The movie begins with a man named Kent being chased by 3 male cowboys named Ketchum, Stillwell, and Dugan. Because of that, Kent continued to run from their pursuit until he finally fell due to a gunshot. Soon after, Ketchum approached him to ask about his friend's whereabouts. However, since he didn't want to answer, Ketchum tied his neck on a horse, then he was dragged by Dugan. Kent wanted to tell him where his friend was because he couldn't endure the pain anymore. Sadly, Ketchum still killed him by strangling his neck with a rope and then hanging his body. The scene switches to a man named William Henry McCarty, an ordinary farmer. He lives in a remote place very far from the city in Oklahoma with his son, Wyatt. His wife died long ago and was buried near their house. Every morning, Henry is always helped by Wyatt and his brother-in-law, Al, from feeding the cattle to taking care of the fields. While at work, Wyatt asked Henry why he chose a place to live away from people, with a job only as a farmer. Henry replied that at that time, the government allowed someone to have land far from the city after 1 year of living there. Knowing that, he decided to go there. Shortly afterward came a white horse with blood stains near the saddle. Henry asked Wyatt to keep the horse in their stable while he looked for the horse's owner's whereabouts around the area of his house. Since he found no one nearby, he rode his horse to look for the person who had it. On the way, Henry saw a man in a brown jacket who died from a gunshot wound on his chest. Besides that, he also found the man's bag, which contained a lot of money. Seeing that, Henry immediately left the man because he didn't want to get involved with his case. However, on the way, he changed his mind and turned his horse towards the man again. Henry couldn't bear it and thought the man might still be saved, so he took the man and his belongings to his house. He then erased his traces in that place so that no one would suspect anything. Upon arriving home, Wyatt helped Henry to move the man into their home for treatment. Wyatt speculated that the man could be a mobster or a criminal, but Henry asked him not to speculate until the man was awake. Afterward, Henry put the man's valuables in a secret place, and Wyatt saw it. The next day, Henry tied the unconscious man's body to the bed. Wyatt was asked to look after him while Henry was going somewhere to take care of something he couldn't tell Wyatt. After his father left, Wyatt immediately opened the secret place his father used last night to keep that thing. When Wyatt opened his father's closet, he found a large amount of money and a gun belonging to the man. He took the gun and tried to shoot it outside the house. At the same time, the man had a dream about his childhood. He saw a criminal who was shot dead. After a while, it turned out, Henry went to the scene of the shooting of the man, looking for a clue. However, from a distance, Henry saw 3 cowboys are checking the place. He immediately tied his horse to a tree and followed them secretly. Stillwell told the person he killed yesterday had been brought in by someone that good at removing traces. Shortly after, Stillwell heard a voice from behind the bushes. He told his 3 friends to find out the voice. Because of that, Henry shoots his gun to distract them and runs away. In the yard, Wyatt was using the man's gun to practice shooting a bottle. After successfully shooting the bottle, he returned the gun to his father's cupboard. When Wyatt opened his father's cupboard drawer, he found a large box containing a gun with bullets and several pieces of newspaper. Not long after, he heard a voice from the man's room. He immediately tidied his father's things, then went to see the man's condition. Arriving in the room, Wyatt saw the man had woken up with his ties that had been untied. The man immediately attacked Wyatt. Luckily, Henry came, then kicked and beat the man until he passed out. After that, he ties him to a chair. Henry tries to wake him up by giving him a bottle of scented oil. After the man regained consciousness, Henry tried to remove the bullet from his body using a knife while asking about his identity. The man claimed he was a police officer, but he refused to answer more when asked about the money. Soon enough, Henry saw the 3 cowboys approaching his house. Henry told Wyatt to stay away from the window while he would come out to meet them with a gun. Outside the house, Ketchum confessed they were a Wood County sheriff looking for a big fugitive named Curry. But Henry still didn't say anything because he didn't know the truth. He admits that he only lived alone, while his wife had long died 10 years ago. Ketchum saw that there was McCarty's name on his wife's gravestone. He also asked if Henry had a sibling relationship with an ancient criminal from Arizona, who also had McCarty's name. Henry admitted that he was left alone because all his brothers had died. Before leaving, Ketchum reminds him to be careful of Curry because he is a dangerous criminal. When Henry took Curry's gun, he found the gun empty without bullets. He knew that Wyatt had used the gun secretly. Knowing this, he was very angry and slapped Wyatt because he did not want his son to hold weapons such as guns or knives. Wyatt was angry because he had always been forbidden to do anything by his father. He cursed that his father was a stupid old man, then left him. On the other hand, Curry told Henry that those 3 cowboys were the band of robbers who had robbed the Adam Express train. At that time, he and Kent chased them and managed to kill 2 of their gang members. But things turn around, so Kent is killed by them, while Curry snatches Ketchum's bag. After that, he ran as fast as possible, but Ketchum managed to shoot his chest and fell to the ground. Hearing that, Henry asked why he didn't immediately hand over the bag containing the money to the Wood County Police, but he did not want to answer it. On the other hand, Dugan actually finds out that Curry is inside Henry's house. Ketchum could have shot Henry right away, but he wasn't sure that Henry was just an ordinary farmer because the way he held the gun looked very professional. He orders Dugan to keep an eye on Henry's house while he and Stillwell will look for weapons and seek information about Henry from Al. In the evening, Henry feeds Curry while asking about his life journey. Curry told how he started his career as a sheriff and his childhood living in New Mexico. As a child, Curry witnessed the death of the first criminal, nicknamed Billy the Kid, a legend from Old Wales who was killed by his friend Peter Maxwell. Curry knows the cause of Billy the Kid's death because he bleeds after receiving 2 shots in his chest. There was one sentence that he remembered most before Billy was shot. Billy asks him to lower his head, then he will be safe. After hearing Curry's story, Henry gives him his gun and asks him to run away that night. When Henry is about to take Curry's bag, Dugan suddenly fires his gun at Henry's house. Because of that wickedness, Wyatt was hit by a bullet, while Curry immediately fainted because of his wounds that had not healed. Henry realized that Dugan had been hiding in the basement of his house and prepared to shoot him. Soon afterward, Henry dropped the book on the floor where Dugan was. After that, he took a shotgun to hunt down Dugan's whereabouts without panicking. As a result, he managed to find Dugan's hiding place. He immediately caught Dugan and asked about the whereabouts of his other friends. Because he didn't want to say it, Henry killed him and threw his body into the pigsty to be their food. However, he had seen a robber symbol on Dugan's arm. After that, Henry treats Wyatt's wound. Suddenly, Wyatt asked about his father's real identity because he found some clues about him and saw his expertise in eradicating criminals. Henry just said, long before he met his wife, he had done something bad. The next day, Ketchum and Stillwell try to find information about Henry from Al. But because Al resisted, Stillwell immediately beat him until he passed out, then tortured him. After that, Ketchum and his gang came to Henry's house carrying Al, who was already badly injured. Ketchum promises to let Henry, Wyatt, and Al escape on the condition that they hand over Curry and all the money. Hearing that, Henry refused. As a result, Ketchum brought the badly injured Al before Henry. Inside the house, Henry took his shotgun and gave Wyatt a gun just in case. Without the slightest fear, he comes out and threatens to kill them if he doesn't go and hand over Al. Hearing that, Ketchum and his gang just laughed at Henry's words because the number of his gang was more than his. After that, Ketchum shot Al in the forehead until he died. Seeing that, Wyatt rashly attacks them, then Henry throws his body into the house to keep him safe. Henry blames Wyatt for being rash and tells him to keep his head down to stay safe. Hearing Henry's words, Curry remembered what Billy the Kid said to him when he was a child. He realized that Billy the Kid was still alive and changed his name to William Henry McCarty. To hide, he changed Bonnie's name behind him with his wife's name, McCarty. Confidently, Henry left the house with the full weaponry he had gotten from the city. He bravely shot the band of robbers with extraordinary skill. The gang shot and even stabbed their chests with a knife. As a result, he kills 8 people at once. Unfortunately, Ketchum is still alive and able to escape. Soon after, Henry continued chasing him until he reached the middle of the forest, and they shot each other. Although Henry manages to kill Ketchum, his back is hit by a bullet wound. Arriving home, Henry asked Wyatt to prepare water and cloth for the injured Curry. Henry will call a doctor to cure him. However, when Henry tore off Curry's shirt to treat him, he saw the same marks as Dugan's. Shortly after, Curry shot Henry. It turned out that the symbol was an agreement between him and Ketchum. In fact, Curry had told the truth about his job as sheriff, but he was also involved in the hijacking of the Adam Express train. Because Ketchum's gang was about to kill Curry, they fought each other for the money until Kent died at the hands of Ketchum's gang. It was revealed why Curry did not immediately give the money to the police because he and his friends were the police officers who were involved in the crime. On the other hand, Curry is also grateful that Henry has saved him, but he doesn't want to lose the moment to kill the legend Billy the Kid. When he was about to shoot Henry again, Lucky Wyatt had already shot him with his father's shotgun. After that, Wyatt approached his father, who was getting weaker because there were 3 bullets lodged in his body. Henry advised him, after the news of his death spread, he would know about his real identity. Henry feels grateful to have a son like Wyatt, who wants to accompany him until the end of his life. He also hopes Wyatt can find his own way. As a result, the legendary William Henry McCarty died. After the death of his father, Wyatt was very devastated. He buried his father's body next to his mother's grave. After that, he packed his things to leave the house and prepare to face his new life. The moral that can be learned from this movie is to be careful with the people you help, because it could be that person who will destroy you.